Is we live? Is we live? Is we live? Yes, you're now tuning into the Rare Podcast. Of course, I'm your host of the most, NK, aka the man of the hour, too sweet to be sour. And we are back for another edition of the Rare Podcast. It's always funny when people react to our intro.
I love it, bro. I love it. Ryan was so smooth with it. I said shit. Hey man, that's cool.
He had that down,
bro.
To the T.
Yeah, that's a man that's practiced well.
Legit,
I've had that
literally.
intro for so long, but yeah, it's always a good reaction when people hear it for the first time, innit? But of course, I'm not alone. I've got two very special guests, people I've been watching for a minute now, but I'll let them introduce yourself. Lads, tell the people who you are and what you're about, man.
Man,
You go first, Mr. Big Man CEO. Fam.
I'm Archie, one half of Challenge Player One, the show for lovers of gamers and more. Yeah.
Cool. I'm the second half of Challenge Player One. I'm mainly behind the scenes, simply because not really much of a camera guy, but if needs be, I will get in front of it. But for the most part, I work behind the scenes for everything Challenge Player One related. Archie is mainly the face of Challenge Player One. But I'm the second half, and yeah, Challenge Player One was literally born out of a coffee shop. And now we're here.
Yeah.
So for those of the so people who don't know, what is Challenge Player One?
So Challenge Player One basically is a show, a platform, literally dedicated to just lovers of gamers. Like as Yuri said, like there was how it came about was I used to work at like a pirate radio station, and there was a presenter who was playing Mario Kart with an artist. And I was sitting there and I was like, I could do this. Like, I think for me, I was like, I can actually do this. So I was trying to find out ways. I was like, okay, how do we like make this into something? So I was chatting to like my head of station at the time, and he was just like, okay, why do you want to do this? And we're going through logistics and stuff. And I was chatting to other people, and they were just like, oh, you should do it like this, do it like this. And I was like, nah, like, I need to figure this out myself. So then once I kind of had the idea done, I was like, I need someone who's gonna like be a part of this and like help and support or just know what to do or feels just as passionate about this as much as I do. And then like that's when I shouted Yuri, and like Yuri and I, we've known each other for so long now, like almost 10 years now.
10 years. Yeah.
So and he's like, bro, like photographer, one of the hardest photographers. Like he doesn't like being called a graphic designer, innit? But he's such a sick creative. Like, and
Thank
so
you very much, my bro.
I was just like, bro, like I wanna work on this with you. Like this is the idea that I have. And he was like, yeah, like just
do it.
Just
do it.
Just let me know and we'll pattern it. So like we've been going like 3.5 years strong now, which has been nice. But it's also like funny because we took a year break. And
a very long year.
A very long year. And I think that was mainly just because like in the beginning I was quite nervous about the idea and about putting things out there and wondering whether it was going to work or not. And
me too, to be fair.
Yeah.
Because you have this, because obviously when you create something, you obviously have the vision of it in your mind. But obviously the vision that you have of it in your mind is what it can be when you have all the resources at your fingertips, innit? But obviously, like with life, like not everything is available at your fingertips. Like not everyone is rich, so you can't like do things the way you want to do it. So like we had a particular vision in our mind where it's like it has to be this way, and we want it this way, no other way. But at the time, again, like the resources weren't playing to our favor, so like we had this very like we were very what's the word? We were very reluctant to put stuff out there simply because it didn't look the way we wanted, it didn't feel the way we wanted, and like there was just certain things that we wanted to tweak. Therefore, like as we were putting content out in the beginning, it was very like stagnant. It was like not stagnant, but it was very irregular. So it was like we posted content one time, and then maybe it'll come out a month later, and then after that 1 month, it wouldn't come out until like 3 months after, and that was simply because we were too in our heads about it. But then it just like after taking a year break, we were literally like, do you know what? Like, let's just fucking do it, innit? Let's just put our heads down and put shit out there, and then whatever sticks in it. Like it doesn't even like we after that 1 hour break were literally just like we were the definition of lock in to ourselves before it became like a trend.
It became a thing, yeah.
Like because we were just like, we just need to lock in and just fucking do it.
Yeah.
Like because like we had one of our friends who people might know, like the chicken connoisseur.
Yeah.
And the way he blew up, he literally blew up overnight, like on Reddit. And fair play to him, because he was grinding years before that, like probably longer than we've been grinding for collectively. So like literally, we just thought of like it only takes one. It only takes one post. It only takes 1 day. It only takes something to happen, innit? But for that to happen, you need to have shit out there. Yeah. So we were just like, let's lock in, let's put content out there, and then whatever happens. And we've been doing it ever since.
Yeah.
So
similar thing for me as well, because like I look at like the content as like a resume. Like you've got to like that one video could blow or whatever, but you've kind of got to have like a catalog of stuff before. And also if you want people to collab with you, or if you want people, you know, to invest in your identity, you kind of got to show them something.
Yeah, you have to have a CV.
It's so funny you say that. So originally, so Challenge Player One, what Challenge Player One is now was what it was supposed to be years ago. But we didn't start doing that until September of 2024. And in the beginning, like before we even like put face to camera, we were reaching out to various guests, and surprisingly, like I was quite shocked because a lot of them responded back and was just like, because these were like some were like influencers, some were like big like media personalities, and a lot of them got back and was like, oh yeah, do you have anything to show us so that we can see?
And we were like, oh.
And we were like, oh, well, we don't. So
Yeah.
that's when we started recording with just us two. And just to get used to being in front of the camera, get used to the model, get used to what we're talking about, but then also have a bit of proof of concept.
Yeah.
And then that's when we were like, okay, yeah, let's lock in. So yeah, so right about the point about having a resume.
Yeah, because I think when I started this podcast, I started it in uni, right? But obviously, like, guests weren't even a thing. So I'm like, I'm not inviting someone all the way to like Hertfordshire.
Yeah.
So,
oh, you went Hertfordshire?
Yeah, I went Hertfordshire. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
same.
Yeah.
What the hell? Yeah, bro, I went Hertfordshire as well. What the hell? Oh shit, I didn't even know that.
I went graduated 2020, I was in 2017.
2017.
Yeah.
Well, I graduated 2019, I think. 2018, 2019.
So we were around.
Yeah, we were definitely around D having. Yeah, bro, 100%. What the hell? I didn't even clock that.
I didn't even clock small.
That's mental.
That's
would you look at that? That's nuts,
insane.
man.
Life.
Bro, life, bro.
is crazy.
That's insane.
But yeah, like it was just very much like, but use the people around you. And
Facts.
I think in the creative industry, I feel like sometimes we, as like upcoming creators, will look at who's up there, but instead of who's next to us.
Yes.
And there are a lot of people who are just starting out as creators. So, because when I transitioned my podcast from being obviously based in Hertfordshire to London, I was looking at, hey, who's starting out? And I think that helped, you know, kind of me build networks and stuff like that. And now the people I started out with, I'm seeing them just go. And I feel like, but that sense of community is is important, because we all have to start from somewhere, and like a house isn't built in a day.
100%.
Like you got to think about building the foundations
Right.
before you think about repainting the walls and making it look pretty and stuff like that. Just putting the content out there is important, man.
100%.
But like you guys continuing has led us here, and for me, as someone who's like been a fan, who's been a gamer all my life, to see like a platform where a lot of people stream gaming, a lot of people do walkthroughs, but specifically Black UK content creators talking about video games, I was like, this is sick.
Oh, thank you, man.
This is sick. And I was like, one, I have to follow these man, and two, I want to chop it up with these man.
Yeah, please, bro. Thank you.
Because this is sick, man. But we'll definitely get into the gaming a bit more. But before that, we like to do a little segment called Rare Moment of the Week, where we like to spotlight a creative that we feel deserves the accolades, deserves their attention.
Okay.
So, do you guys have any particular Rare Moment of the weeks?
Yeah, I just clocked. Can I do two?
Sure.
Okay, cool. So the first one is Outtake Network. So they're a team of people that basically just film and movie lovers, film and TV lovers, should I say. So shout out to the Outtake Network. And then the second people is As Told By. As Told By, they do, again, film and TV. I've started recently getting into a lot of film and TV stuff recently. So these two like up and coming platforms, I think, are there. So Outtake Network and As Told By for myself.
Sick. I think for me, it's just one that's screaming at me, and that's Do-Rag Dragon. That's one of my mates right there. Shout out Josiah, that's his real name. But Do-Rag Dragon is his like handle or tag or whatever you want to call that. I actually used to work with this guy at Nike. He was one of like, I'm not gonna lie to you, I did not know he was like a quote nerd like that. I did not know that at all. Because like obviously when you work with someone, you're literally just chopping it up about like life and stuff like that. And that's and like music and shit like that, innit? So that's the main things that we like typically just chopped it up about. And then lo and behold, like a couple years later, fast forward to whenever he started it, like he just started going off on Pokemon. Like like when I tell you this guy, he knows Pokemon, bro. Like
Yeah, I'm quite spun at
as if he made the fucking thing. Like and like shout outs to him. Like he recently just went on a trip to, I think, actually I'm not even gonna butcher where he went to, but he went somewhere. And like it was like he was out there just like teaching people about Pokemon, bro. Like he took trading cards out there, like he made them open packs and all that kind of stuff. Like because the people out there didn't know what Pokemon trading card game is, innit? So he took it out there, like he showed them what it was. Like he just had a blast out there, like introducing people to the life of Pokemon. And like shouts out to him and what he's doing. And yeah, man, big up Josiah.
Big up Josiah, man.
My rare moment of the week is kind of a music social club called Discord Club. It's basically it's run by my guy Daniel. Big up Daniel. It's basically like, think of it like a music book club where you go each they do like sessions every 2 weeks or something like that, where you basically go in and basically review an album with a bunch of people.
Yes.
Okay.
I've seen, yeah. Photographer Daniel, right?
Photographer Daniel.
Shout out Dan. Yeah.
And basically just go in, like, I it's so sick because I go solo sometimes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I just meet a bunch of people, connect through music and because I feel like a lot of the time we experience music in clubs or bars or whatever, but it's nice to just sit down and talk about an art form like that. So I feel like, you know, that platform is an amazing platform. So yeah, big up Discord Club.
Cold.
So yeah, man, that was rare moments of the week, man. But I sent you guys top 3.
Yeah.
An interesting top 3. We're into the gaming now. We're here for the gaming. We're here for the gaming now. This is a gaming episode, you know what I'm saying? So, I'm going to start with this. What is your favorite video game cover?
So this was an interesting question because I've never had that question before. But so I was just like, "Raw, what is?"
Not really like
Look at the covers. Yeah,
like it's not that it's because don't get me wrong in it. It's not that I don't look at the game covers, but like hear me out for a second, yeah. Like video game covers, especially to be specific, they were only a thing from obviously whenever you started gaming. Like most of us started gaming when we were like little kids.
Yeah.
Up until let's say maybe 2000 and when did the PS4 come out?
PS4
2012.
2013.
So like it was only a thing from when we were kids up until about 2012, maybe 2015 at the latest. Reason why I say that is because, and this is something that we got into like in one of our episodes actually on Challenge Player 1, and that was because we've seen the migration of physical to digital. So because of that migration from like 2012, 2015 onwards, you're not really paying attention.
Yeah, the
to
art of game covers is slightly,
the art of game covers is like, let me put it bluntly, is dying. Like, because everyone's buying, for the most part, digital games now. So like when you buy a game, fair enough, it still has a cover, but you don't really care no more. You're not really looking at it like that no more.
That's not the first thing you're taking note of.
You're not taking that in. And the reason being is because once you boot up your console, it's literally just X or A or whatever you're pressing, and you're booted into the game. So you're not really paying attention to what you're actually about to play, so to speak. But going back to the question at hand, like for game covers back in that time when we used to buy physical, there are a lot of game covers that I would say are my top. But I'll let Archie answer actually, because I actually still need to
I still need
to fully think of which one to me is the best.
I think for me, I'd say it was Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories on the Game Boy Advance. Man's even got Kingdom Hearts 2. You see? Bro, do you know what's crazy? My first answer was Kingdom Hearts 2, but I literally changed it as I was saying it. And the reason why was literally tied to what Yuri was saying. I got into Kingdom Hearts through Chain of Memories on the Game Boy Advance.
Really?
Yeah. And the story's mad
Convoluted.
Yeah. So I was with my dad and my stepmom, and we were in Croydon, and we go into a game shop, and my stepmom's like, and she's a gamer, like she like at their house she's got like a Nintendo 64, she's got like all the classic games and stuff. She loves Tetris on the Game Boy Color, everything. So we go to this game shop and she's like, you could pick out 2 games that you want, any 2 games that you want. I said, cool. And I was a Game Boy Advance SP type of kid. That was the only thing I was playing the whole time. So we go into the shop. I love Pokemon, literally the back of my case. And I see Pokemon Leaf Green because that was the latest Pokemon that came out back then. So I bought Leaf Green and I'm like, oh, what other game do I want? And I see this shiny silver cover with this kid. I see Donald and Goofy. I'm like, what's this? I'm like, Kingdom Hearts, Chain of Memories. I'm like, and like, it's one of them ones where like the case is like reflective and it's the material is different. I'm like, I need this. Bought it, played it, loved it. That was my introduction to Kingdom Hearts, and I haven't looked back ever since. So I'd say my favorite video game cover is Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories on the Game Boy Advance.
Sick.
That's my answer.
Nice. And you've been a lover of Kingdom Hearts ever since.
Since then, bro.
Man rise or dies for that game, boy.
Haven't gone back.
So Kingdom Hearts I'm the same way about Kingdom Hearts. I don't play about Kingdom Hearts.
It's just that game for you guys.
Yeah.
There you go.
I think for me, and this is even like this was even something that was refreshed because of a post that I saw on Twitter the other day, and I think it's like overall it's just the racing game genre in general, but again it's tied back to back in the day, not now. And for me it has to be Midnight Club.
Yes.
Reason why I say this, and this was the reason that was outlined in that Twitter post, is because they shut down Times Square, got real enthusiasts to drive their cars down to Times Square to take a picture. That one picture became the cover of the game. And like arguably Midnight Club from that point on became one of if not the best racing game of all time. Like Midnight Club as in like the first ever one, but to me the best racing game of all time has to be Midnight Club 3 or Midnight Club 3 Dub Edition or Midnight Club 3 Dub Edition Remix or even Midnight Club 3 Dub Edition LA, I think, Remix LA,
is that the one where you open up the game and the song House Real Big?
Yeah, and then it's like zooming through the city.
That was
banger.
iconic.
Manny Fresh. That's an
Banger.
iconic soundtrack right there.
That's crazy.
Iconic. But yeah, mine has to be like Midnight Club. And then obviously paired with that it's probably like Need for Speed Underground, Underground 2,
Yeah.
like all those kinds of games, because like it just gave you a sense of like you're about to get into some real like adrenaline filled
Street heat.
stuff. And then I think around that time as well is when we had like Fast and Furious.
Tokyo
So
Drift was coming out.
exactly. So like a lot of those game covers really tied in, not tied into those films, but tied into those films in the sense of like the artistic direction that they went with. Because like if you look at the covers of Fast and Furious and that kind of stuff, and look at the video game covers of Midnight Club, Need for Speed Underground, all that kind of, like they're literally
Even
like
Burnout as well.
like they're like for like. Like if you look at both of them side by side, you're like, like this is like car racing era. Like we're in the 2000s, bro.
Yeah.
Like you get it? So so yeah, that's my one.
Yeah, it's hard. This was hard for me too, because there's covers that stick out to me just like unattached from the game. So I've never played this series, but when I think of video game covers, I think of Borderlands 2.
Okay. Yeah.
Just the
Yeah.
that cover, like I
yeah.
always
The artistic direction for like the video game covers for Borderlands, unmatched.
just
Unmatched.
just ridiculous. But I remember, if I attach this to a memory, Star Wars Force Unleashed.
Okay.
Right.
Yep.
That's another good
Force
one.
Unleashed.
That's a good one.
That one there, I remember like walking past that game and just seeing lightning, a lightsaber, stormtroopers.
And
flying around.
sorry to cut you off here, but like going back to the Borderlands thing and the Star Wars thing here, like I didn't know about Borderlands, and I didn't know of Borderlands, but one thing I did always remember was that fucking cover.
Yeah,
Like if you saw like a gas mask,
Yeah.
that type of gas mask specifically, you already knew what that was.
Wagwan. Yeah.
Like,
banger.
You already knew it was Borderlands without even knowing what Borderlands was, without even playing Borderlands or anything like that. And then, like, to your other point as well, with Star Force Unleashed and the lightning and stuff, that brought me back to actually probably my second favorite game cover, which is probably Infamous and Infamous 2.
That was going to be my second one, you know.
Ooh.
Infamous was going to be my second
Infamous and Infamous 2.
Yeah.
Like, because it had that similar
Vibe.
like similar kind of vibe to Star Wars Force Unleashed as well. So yeah, sorry to cut you off. But
No.
continue.
Infamous. Listen, Infamous is one of my favorite like PlayStation exclusives ever. Like
100%.
just like I remember I got Infamous because of like the PlayStation. What was it? I think
PlayStation 3.
PSN. Yeah, PSN was down.
Yeah.
PSN was down for time. And then they were like, "Do you know what? We're just gonna give out 3 games," and they gave out Infamous. I played that game. I was like,
Phenomenal game.
phenomenal. Like just the twist with Kessler, like just the gameplay, the combat, the storyline.
The karma system.
Yeah,
the
the different
system.
paths you can take as well,
Yeah.
different endings as well.
Yep.
Like that game right there, grip like fully did the job. And another one, Shadow the Hedgehog.
Which one?
The first Shadow game. Shadow the Hedgehog.
I remember in primary school, I was in year 5 or year 6 when it came out, and there was one of my friends, Harry. He would always have like the latest games, like every time. Like his mum would always buy him the latest games, and his mum was so sweet. She'd be like, "Yo, like bring your friends around, they can play it." And I remember Donnie booted up Shadow the Hedgehog for the first time, and that intro that comes in, bro. His little brother had a toy gun, like a toy AK-47, and we were just shooting it all over the place when the intro would play, bro. That's Shadow the Hedgehog is an OG one for sure.
Shadow the Hedgehog is elite game.
The elite game. We'll move on to the next one. Speaking of music, favorite video game soundtrack.
We've said one of my favorites already, which is Manny Fresh, House Real Big, Cars Real Big, Billy Real Big, everything real big.
Sticking on racing games. Mine, Need for Speed Carbon.
Interesting.
That's interesting, because I thought you would have said, because as you were saying Need for Speed, I thought you would have said Need for Speed Underground 2.
Everyone says Underground 2, right?
Because Riders on the Storm.
Yeah, no. Underground 2 is one of those ones, everyone pray. But I think I played Need for Speed. I had Need for Speed Carbon on the PS. I think it was the PS2 at the time, and then my PSP.
Yeah.
And then there was two different versions of the game.
There was.
So the PSP version
Was not the same.
Was not the same as the PS2 version.
Not at all.
I think the PSP version was on Unlock the City. What was it? Something the City. But it was a completely different
thing.
Different
Yeah,
story.
yeah.
And I remember playing it on the PSP version had like a mad like the art style was different. It's much more comic book art style. It was very like immersive. And then I just remember like being in the back of my mum's car playing Need for Speed and I heard Sway on the soundtrack. I'm like, wow, they got UK, they got UK rappers on this. Also for me, that soundtrack sticks out to me very vividly.
That's one thing, that I will quote unquote hate EA for, and that's because obviously you had your EA titles, but within your EA titles there was this like subsidiary thing or whatever you want to call it, where it was like EA Tracks, with an X, and listen, the songs that they had, serious. Because like I don't know how they got the licenses back in the day. I don't know what they did, how much they paid artists or whatever they did.
Yeah.
But the songs that they had on their titles, from Need for Speed to FIFA Street 2
to NFL
Street
to SSX
to all
EA
any
all
of them,
man.
all of those games, the soundtrack
dangerous
was just hitting.
And
you know that they did their research as well, because again, like for a company like EA to reach out so broadly to get people like Sway and just other artists and stuff in their games was insane.
Soundtrack, the Nipsey soundtrack, Carbon soundtrack, you had Sway, but then you had Lady Sovereign, but you had Pharrell, but then also you'd had Eagles of Death, like a random rock band, it all makes sense for the tone of the game, and
100%,
carefully curated to fit.
Because you know what, that even reminds me as well, because one of the first football /FIFA games that I ever played was, I think, FIFA 08, I think, or maybe it was FIFA 03. I don't quite remember the number at the end. But when I booted up that game, and obviously like you're doing your formations, whatever, Miss Dynamite just comes up.
That's 03, Miss
Dynamite.
I was like,
cold.
I was like,
Cold.
I was like, they clocked it on a football game.
Yeah, even Fight Night. When Fight Night was a thing, that's when they like before they stopped doing it. Fight Night had an insane soundtrack.
They clocked
as well.
They clocked it.
EA back then, during them early 2000 periods, before 2008,
that was peak EA.
Was at their creative peak as well.
Was EA at its finest. EA at its like golden era. EA, I think.
Facts.
Because after that, that's when, because I knew things went not south, but things changed after PES went into 2008. They didn't have 2007, they just went straight to 2008. And for me, I always remember that moment being the moment from that point afterwards.
Do you know what? That's so
where
funny.
Things changed.
That's actually so funny as well, because obviously, again, I mentioned that I had like FIFA 03, and I consequently played all the FIFAs after that until it got to 2008.
Yeah.
When PES 08 came out, because that's when I started playing PES instead. I started playing PES instead of FIFA.
But do you know what so in this EA conversation is very interesting, because you've mentioned that, like EA, for every FIFA there was a PES. For every Need for Speed there was a Midnight Club.
Yes.
Maybe it's a thing of like, we can trace EA stagnation to have them having essentially a monopoly over their markets.
Yeah.
They became the de facto, football, FIFA is the number one thing.
Yeah.
Midnight Club, Rockstar stopped making Midnight Clubs.
Yeah.
And like
which they should not do, by the way. Bring that back.
But it's like Rockstar, if it's not Red Dead, if it's not GTA, they're not concerned.
It's true.
Unfortunately. I mean, even Red Dead, if it's not GTA, they're not concerned, period. Red Dead Redemption 2 got left in the water, man. That could have been one of the greatest. Yeah, man. They left Red Dead to die, man.
They did.
But I just feel like, I think it's a level of like, because there was no alternative.
Yeah.
All the alternatives went away. I was like, hey, we've got free domain. We
Yeah,
have
exactly.
to push ourselves further, because you guys are gonna come back.
Yeah, 100%.
Because where you guys going?
Yeah.
And that's I'm so glad you brought up like racing games, because I feel like the racing game genre has died. Everything has turned into a simulation type game.
Yeah.
Like we have obviously the Gran Turismos and the Forzas, and those are like real immersive simulation games.
Yeah.
But then I feel like the Need for Speeds now are kind of like, they're not quite simulation, but they're not as fun or
They're
pick
not
up.
arcade.
They're not
yeah,
arcade
yeah,
anymore.
yeah.
And even aesthetically, of course, things evolve with the time, but it's Midnight Club, the early Need for Speed Underground was so visceral. But now, like, these racing games don't have a particular visual identity.
No, they don't.
So
They
funny story with that. Need for Speed. Oh my gosh, what was the latest Need for Speed that
Unbound.
came out? Unbound. It's actually not that bad.
It's not bad.
Like,
it's not bad.
It's
But
pretty good.
But obviously, because we've also spoken about this on Challenge Player 1, but Archie knows that like I'm like a racing game guy. Like, and I agree with his point that it's not bad, but to me personally, it's what we should have gotten
Time ago.
ages ago.
Yeah. I hear
Like
that.
when they initially brought back Need for Speed, yeah, and I remember this like yesterday. Like when they brought back Need for Speed, it like as Need for Speed, yeah, it was the 2015 one where they like teased it, where it was like a car beaming down the streets and like there was police like chasing them, and it was like a handheld video sort of thing. Like obviously look it up if you don't know what I'm talking about, but when they teased that and stuff, I was like, okay, like Need for Speed might be coming back, and it might be coming back in a most wanted sort of sense, innit?
Yeah.
And when it came, it was good. It was all right.
Yeah.
It was all right, innit? Like it gave us what we kind of wanted at the time because there was nothing. Like obviously we had Forza Horizon, which is great, but that's an Xbox exclusive.
Yeah.
So
Anymore.
not anymore. But like no one's really buying a whole console to then play Forza Horizon. So that's all we had at the time. We had Need for Speed 2015, and then after Need for Speed 2015 came Need for Speed.
There's one before Heat.
It was Need for Speed.
Yeah.
Run. Was it Run?
On the Run? Wait, let's have a look.
No, it wasn't that one. I think that was on the PS3 or something else. Oh, Payback. That's what it's called.
That's it.
So Need for Speed Payback. That came out. That was giving people Fast and Furious vibes. We didn't want that.
No.
Right.
We didn't want that. We can just watch Fast and Furious if we
Yeah.
wanted that. So that one was kind of like, because they had like not an RPG kind of thing, but they had an RPG kind of thing, but with cars. Because obviously, like, you can put parts in your car, like make it whatever. Cool. Need for Speed Payback. That was dead. They kind of heard us. Like when I say us, I mean the community. So they kind of brought out Need for Speed Heat. That wasn't too bad.
It felt bare bones.
Yeah.
It felt aesthetically.
It did.
Aesthetically, it felt like Need for Speed, like the visuals, the
Yeah.
look, the tone. It just felt there were pieces missing.
Yeah. It felt like what Need for Speed 2015 should have been. And obviously at the time, 2015 was it fixed it itched the scratch that we had. That's what 2015 did. Payback missed the mark completely. Like completely missed the mark. Heat, when it came out, was itching the scratch that we had from 2015. And then Unbound came out. And when Unbound came out, that was what we wanted out of the other three titles that came before it. Because that was very underground-esque,
Yeah, the
but
art
make
direction
it
as well.
modern sort of thing. Truth be told, I'm not really with the animation art style thing, but that's neither here nor there. I didn't really mind it as I was playing it. And then they subsequently came out with an update where you can kind of remove all that. But yeah, Unbound was what its predecessors were meant to be for the modern day. And yeah, I'm not too like annoyed about it, especially now with the updates that they have. Like they've got like continuous updates, and that's another thing actually that killed the other games, that they stopped the live service of it after 6 months. And that was the case. That was the case for quite a lot of them as well.
Yeah.
And then after Need for Speed Heat came the closure of Ghost actually. So they closed down Ghost Games. So they're not even the developers no more.
Yeah.
And I think part of the success of Unbound was the fact that they actually brought back Criterion,
Yeah.
which were kind of heavy hitters in terms of the Need for Speed games of past.
They
So
did Most Wanted, right?
they did. I think
Hot Pursuit.
they did Hot Pursuit,
Pursuit,
for
that's
sure. Yeah, they did. I think they did. No, they did Most Wanted, the one on the previous gen. So they did that one. They did 2012 Most Wanted, not the one from time ago, because that was Black Box.
Yeah.
Which again is a studio that they shut down. Don't know why, but here we are. But yeah, Need for Speed Unbound, because they brought back like heavy hitters, like it did really well, and because it's now like a live service game, and like they're kind of bringing like nostalgia back. So they've brought back the M3 GT, all that kind of stuff. Like they brought back Eddie's Skyline, they brought back Rachel's 350Z, all that kind of stuff. Obviously, that like they're gonna do like some sort of nostalgia to bring people back. But the fact that they're doing live service and they're doing things that the community is kind of asking for anyway, then
Step in the right direction.
yeah,
innit?
it's a step in the right direction, and kind of have to like give credit where credit is due in it.
One more question on the racing thing. Do you think that is it a case of like, because racing games used to be a staple, especially in the gaming industry, like Need for Speed, they used Midnight Club used to be like big top tier franchises. Do you think that racing games aren't at that level of prominence because racing culture has died down as a whole? Or is it a thing of the quality of the game and the right game will kind of bring it back to prominence?
It's a bit of both.
I think it's the latter more than the former, but like Archie said, I think it's a bit of both.
Yeah. Like
Go on.
I think so if we're looking at, let's say, Underground, Midnight Club, even like the first Most Wanted that came out before they remade it, I think during that period of time, like a 5 year, even Burnout as well, I think during that 5-6 year span, that's where, again, like whether it's Fast and Furious or even just, but also there's the element of music as well that adds to it as well.
100%.
So it's like a mixture of like, there was a whole era.
Fast and Furious, Pimp My Ride, like
There
the
you
car
go.
culture was
Even
very much
even like music, club culture, like
Rims.
everything about that era, that 6 to 8 year span was just jam packed with just 2000s culture that everyone is just like, yeah, I need to feel like I'm a part of that. So I think now that we don't really have that now, like car culture is now a niche thing, as opposed to it being like a prominent thing back in the early 2000s. Like music licensing is way harder to have now. Like
even car licenses are way harder to have now.
there you go. Like, and then even to add on top of that as well, it's just like gameplay is different. Do you get what I'm saying? So there's so many different elements that adds to the fact that we don't really have that prominent era that we had before.
We don't have the recipe no more.
Yeah, and we don't want to go back and chase nostalgia as well.
No, we don't.
So we got to find a way, I think now.
It's a balance.
Yeah, there's a balance. So I think that's why, like as Yuri was saying, that's why like Unbound was quite good, because it managed to kind of collectively grab all of the previous games that didn't do well, but put it into something and add elements from the previous games, and then on top of that have its own unique art direction as well, and do something. Obviously having ASAP Rocky there to promote the game and things like that. So I think they just have to now, what I realize is that you just have a fun element of it. And even from a gameplay perspective, like Need for Speed does very well at making sure the cars feel nice when you drive them. Like have that element added to it. Have a good fun arcadey mode to it as well. Like make it more nicer online for people to experience. And I think once you kind of bag that, then I think things will just kind of go in the right direction. But I feel like we've lost that because we're not in that era anymore.
Yeah.
So literally,
that makes a lot of sense.
But back to the soundtrack question.
Yeah.
You didn't ask the soundtrack question.
Yeah. So for me,
I didn't either actually.
Oh, didn't you?
No.
Oh, see, so
Yeah, okay, this is the soundtrack,
yeah, I think mine was kind of like a cheat code. Shout out as always to one of the best video game composers of all time, Yoko Shimomura. Like,
which one though?
I would always say Kingdom Hearts 2.
Okay.
Like, I think there isn't. I mean, I wouldn't say there isn't, but the way that Kingdom Hearts 2 like it captures a feeling, bro. it captures a feeling that I don't think there's any other game that I played similarly to that. And I think aside from Final Fantasy 7 or even Final Fantasy 10 or even like a Chrono Trigger, anything Square Enix basically touches their hands
JRPG.
on does well. But I think for me, playing Kingdom Hearts 2 and just hearing that soundtrack felt like, raw, I need to get into the Royal Opera House and just see this live.
Not to cut you off, but it's even from the menu when you hear Dearly Beloved, dun
Bro,
dun dun.
There
Like,
you go.
and then, but even then, when you see the opening, whether it's Kingdom Hearts 2 with Sanctuary or it's
Utada,
Kingdom Hearts,
Utada Hikaru as
oh
well.
my, like
Yeah.
Kingdom, like one of the Kingdom Hearts in general, just the franchise as a whole, like. Yoko did her thing, but Kingdom Hearts 2, when I think of like Roxas's theme, and I think of like just from sonically, like those songs take me elsewhere. There's such a visceral experience. Because the reason why I said, when you said Yoko Shimomura, the reason I said which one, because in Final Fantasy 15 she made Somnus.
Right, yeah.
And then Somnus, like that soundtrack carried like the promotion of that game when it was even Versus 13. Like just her as a composer.
Absolutely
10
amazing,
out
bro.
of 10.
Even like for me, I can only listen to Sanctuary a certain amount of times because I had like every time I don't want to abuse listening to that song because every time I listen to it, it literally invokes something nuts. Even when Utada Hikaru done the soundtrack for Birth by Sleep as well.
Yeah.
Like it's just, I think Yoko and Utada Hikaru are two people in that franchise for me that make up such a beautiful soundtrack for a game that will forever just have a special place in my heart. I think, yeah. In terms of soundtrack, that's...
Yeah, because you got me thinking like Shion's theme. Like, there's just so many moments in Kingdom Hearts where like the soundtrack, amongst everything, is just evoking like powerful emotions. Damn, you picked my one, but for soundtrack, but that's an amazing one. I think, yeah, like, oh, you didn't get to your soundtrack one.
So obviously I mentioned Cars Big, Money Fresh, but there's a couple more. This I think two of them would come from a game that I have sunk countless hours, if not countless years, a decade to be specific, that I sunk into this game. The game that I'm talking about is Destiny 2 to be specific. And the two soundtracks that I absolutely adore, that everyone will kind of be like, oh, that's the bait one, is Deepstone Lullaby. So there's a raid called Deepstone Crypt that you can do. And there's a bit where like you kind of go outside into space. And like shout out Bungie for like game design and like just development in general. But basically, because obviously it's space, it's a vacuum, right? So whatever's happening inside in terms of like sound effects, like guns going off, when you go into space, everything's muted. Not muted, but like it's like, you know, when you're underwater and you can hear stuff, but it's all like like it's just wobbly and like kind of just toned down, and like you kind of can't make out what's going on in that space. So when you go outside, it's that kind of like feeling in terms of like what you can hear. And then on top of that, they overlay Deepstone Lullaby, and it's a great song. It's a great soundtrack. And then the second one that I would say is also from Destiny is the loading screen for the Witch Queen DLC. When I heard that for the first time, I kid you not, yeah, in a group chat that we have with all our like gaming friends and stuff like that, I was hype for that. Like so hype, in fact, I saved it. I saved the loading screen because it's that good. Like any expansion that's come before it has not gripped me the way that soundtrack has. And shout out to the composer for Destiny 2. I actually don't know his name. Or maybe I do. It's somewhere in the back of my mind, but I've forgotten it. But shout out to him and his like team of team of what's it called? His orchestra rather, because that Witch Queen theme song,
Yeah.
mate,
Everyone loves Witch Queen,
mate,
man.
that
Easily
is
the best
it's
one,
a great expansion, and that loading screen theme is just 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10.
And then this will be the last one out of the top 3, but the big one, favorite video game character.
So
This is one that I had to think about on the way, because
Yeah.
I actually did not know the answer to this question.
yeah, so I had to think about this one because I was like, raw, who actually is my favorite video game character? And to be honest with you, I think it's Kratos from the God of War series, purely based on the fact that purely based on the fact that his character arc is crazy. Like, this is a guy that is just has
On
lost
one.
it on one. Like, he was a serious guy. Like, you know, he pleaded to the gods to win a war that he was losing at the cost of his own family, you know, then sparked the revenge tour on the gods of Olympus. And like, the games were just hack and slash
They were great.
perfection. Like, I remember before when God of War 3, and this is when demos were a thing as well. Like, when the God of War 3 demo was available, I remember me and my cousin were playing it in front of like all of our family members. So like my dad, his mom, like, and our aunts and uncles. And it was hilarious because the first mission, obviously, you're fighting Poseidon.
Yeah.
So you're beating the shit out of Poseidon. And all our aunts and uncles are like, what the fuck? This is some brutal shit. But
Mind you should not have been playing that game.
yeah, that as well. And yeah, I think Kratos as a character is just absolutely like amazing, and just like his tenacity to just want to kill these gods for purely
It's
revenge
crazy.
is mental.
crazy.
But on top,
Monologues as well, man.
bro, but that, and then on top of that as well, it's like when the reboot came for PlayStation 4 and you see him in a different light and he's like, bro, I'm not trying to be that guy that I was before, and he's trying to tackle, you know, his previous life and come to grips with that. And yeah, I think Kratos as a character, I don't think in my opinion, there's a video game character with so much depth and emotion and like that tackles so much in gaming. So I think, yeah, for me, Kratos is easily my favorite video game character, I would say.
Makes sense.
On that same sort of thing that Kratos brings to you, is I think one of the reasons why the character that I'm about to say is my favorite. And that's Ezio Auditore di Firenze. That guy, yeah, is just that. He's just that guy. He's just that guy. To have 3 games, yeah, 4 arguably, to have 3 to 4 games just based on you and whatever the hell
Really the best game
you
for
be
the
doing.
franchise.
Facts.
Listen, but this guy, yeah, when we first meet him in Assassin's Creed 2, by the way, he's from Assassin's Creed, if you don't already know. When you first meet him in Assassin's Creed 2, yeah, he's basically like Kratos. He's a ladies' man. Like, just out here.
Yeah.
He's a whore. He's a whore. Like, he's just out here doing his own thing, living his life, like, doing whatever. And then he's presented with this opportunity, so to speak, where he now has to live a specific sort of life where, like, bearing in mind, of course, like there's the element of the future, which is Desmond Miles. So Desmond Miles has to play as his ancestor, who is Ezio Auditore. But anyway, like, I digress. Like, the opportunity is presented to him where he has to live like a life so polar opposite to what he's used to, which is just being this massive man kid, basically. Just going around doing whatever he wants to do. But now he has to literally do things in a specific way. Again, obviously, because like the future, like his lineage will be affected, but like he has to do things in a certain way to where the future is not fucked up. Because if if he does anything wrong, like again, you get desync, so you essentially have to start again. Like that's the mechanics of the game. Again, for those who haven't played, but if you don't do things correctly, like being part of the creed and all that kind of stuff, you desync. You just have to start again. But like he's just iconic. Like he's just an iconic character, similar to Kratos, in that sense of being an icon, but also in terms of like the life that he has to lead, and the choices that he has to make. Because again, like to have 3 video game titles, and then obviously Brotherhood, just all based on you, just speaks for itself.
Yeah.
Just speaks for itself.
Facts.
And yeah, it was that game, Assassin's Creed 2 to be specific, that got me into the franchise. I played it at like one of my cousin's house, and I was like, "Ooh, what's this game where you can kind of just like," because the reason why I fell in love with that game is because there weren't many games like it where you can run around on rooftops, to be specific, in a sandbox kind of environment. Like most games were literally just like on the ground, and like you were like boxed off to a certain area, like stuff like that. But to play in like iconic, like historical places, such as like Italy, and obviously like in other games like Egypt, like France. Valhalla, like France, with Unity, London with Syndicate, like Norway, Sweden. I forgot which one it is because I didn't actually play it because I didn't like it.
That's Valhalla,
Valhalla,
right?
yeah.
Now Shadows of Japan.
Now Shadows in Japan. Mirage, which was
that was Greek, right?
No, that was in
Mirage.
Oh no, Mirage was. It begins with a B. It's a place in the Middle East. It begins with a B. I think it begins with a B anyway.
No, that's
no. Damn, but anyway, yeah, Mirage.
Assassin's Creed 3, America during the
America during this.
Yeah.
During
America,
Civil War.
Yeah.
American Revolution.
American Revolution. That's the one. Obviously, like the 7 Seas with Black Flag, all that kind of stuff. But like, I digress. But the point that I'm trying to make here is the fact that you can run around in these places, these iconic historic places, and just do whatever you want. And that is what I fell in love with when I saw my cousin play Assassin's Creed 2, and I was like, this is my game.
Yeah.
And because of that, Ezio is my character.
What's yours?
Mine's Cloud Strife.
He's my second.
Cloud Strife.
He's my second.
And I have a very interesting relationship because with Cloud Strife. He's the reason why I got into Final Fantasy, but I'd never played the original.
Right.
So I got into Cloud Strife through Kingdom Hearts 2.
Yep.
Yep. There was this guy with a massive sword.
Cloudbuster.
Yeah, and I'm just like, specifically he was in Kingdom Hearts 1, sorry. He was in Kingdom Hearts 1 during the Olympus Coliseum.
Bandaged up, Buster Sword.
Yeah, Olympus Coliseum. I'm like, this guy's cool. I'm like, cool, I remember this guy. Then Kingdom Hearts 2 came around and he had the Advent Children outfit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, who is this guy?
Speaking of which, actually, the reason why, because obviously I mentioned, like, as you started your point, that Cloud Strife is my second, is because I watched the film, like, Advent Children, yeah. Bear in mind, people, yeah, this film came out in 2008 or 2007, around that time, yeah. Man. When I tell you, yeah, and Archie is my witness, yeah, because I speak to him about this film all the time, yeah. Square Enix, yeah, have to be arguably the best, not one of the best, but the best when it comes to graphical fidelity. Because how did you achieve that in 2007-8?
Yeah.
Is crazy.
It's mental.
Crazy.
I'm gonna get to that film in a second.
And because of that film is one of the reasons why Cloud is one of my favorite my second favorite character, along with Sephiroth as well.
Yeah. But I digress.
But
Yeah, no. I'm gonna get to that. I'm gonna get to that film because that film is so important. But yeah, so I basically was like, who is this character? So obviously I found it came from Final Fantasy VII, but one was a PS1 game,
Right.
and two, I'm not the biggest fan of turn-based combat. It's just never.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've
me neither.
tried. It's just never.
It's not that.
It's
not
just
that
not
thing.
the one for me.
This is
So
not
I'm like,
Pokemon.
yeah. So I'm just like, damn. But I saw that he had his own movie, Advent Children. Then Advent Children Complete. When I watched Advent Children,
That game is not that game. Sorry, that film. That film is beautiful.
That film is
great.
beautiful. Like the whole the fight between Cloud and Sephiroth, and then when One Wing Angel kicks in at the end, and just even Sephiroth's dialogue. I said, you know what? No,
He's that guy.
I'm in. And
He's that villain.
he's that guy. So what happened? I had the PSP. I got Crisis Core.
Yeah.
And then through Cloud, just one character, it got me so invested in the Final Fantasy franchise.
Same.
I tried 13 again. It was turn-based.
Yeah.
It wasn't. But then I would never forget E3. I think E3 2015. Square Enix. The story about this was Square Enix had I think it was a PlayStation Expo a few months before where they teased, hey, Final Fantasy is getting remastered. Okay, whatever.
Yeah.
But then they announced the remake. I said, oh my God, I get to play Final Fantasy 7.
Yeah.
I get to play this game.
Yeah.
And it's got Tetsuya Nomura is directed.
Yeah.
And I love Kingdom Hearts' combat anyways.
Yeah.
So I'm like, finally. And I was kind of butthurt about Final Fantasy 15 because the combat Final Fantasy 15 didn't move me. It was supposed to be a certain way. It was supposed to be
But fucking beautiful game though.
beautiful
Yeah.
game.
Story is sublime.
Beautiful game. But I was like, okay, this is Tetsuya Nomura's like
Yeah.
full vision.
Yeah.
And then I played Final Fantasy 7 Remake. And honestly, one of the best games I've ever played. And just like the writing, like Cloud's character, the combat in that game is insane because it manages to combine the tactical elements of gameplay that you see in turn-based combat versus with real-time action.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can switch between real time as
Like,
well. Yeah.
I don't really go back to play games on hard mode, but I've done that game on normal and hard mode, did all the VR challenges. Like, I love that game. And then Rebirth last year. And then without a shadow of a doubt, that cemented Cloud as like my favorite video game character ever. Because he's my introduction. He's a part of not only Final Fantasy, but Kingdom Hearts as well.
Right.
And he introduced me through not even playing the game, just through seeing him, he introduced me to an entire franchise. And, you know, Final Fantasy VII is the most iconic Final Fantasy VII game. So he's one of the most iconic video game characters of all time.
Yeah.
So for me, yeah, like Cloud Strife, that's my guy, man. That's my guy, man. I can't wait for the third one. I can't wait for for whatever they call it, relive, whatever they call it. I can't wait for that, man. I can't wait for that.
Beautiful game.
But before we wrap up, I wanted to ask you like kind of like it's kind of like a big question. But as growing up, right, gaming was always a thing, but it was kind of seen as a niche hobby, right? How do you think the gaming becoming this massively commercial, globalized entity has affected the industry? Has it? Have you had a more positive experience gaming now that it's a bigger thing, now that video games are more accessible? What like pros and cons have you seen with the expansion of gaming as a medium?
Okay, so very loaded question.
Yeah.
Very good question, but very loaded. So bear with me. So we are seeing an era where there is a massive monopolization of companies either buying out studios and not having the infrastructure to make the profit that they need to, thus closing down the studios. We're now seeing an era where, you know, a game like Hi-Fi Rush can win a gaming award and the studio gets shut down straight after. We're seeing an era where Xbox exclusives are now becoming accessible on PlayStation.
Crazy.
We're seeing an era where obviously, crunching and everything else has naturally always been a thing, but we're starting to be aware of like more unfinished games and having to kind of like come to grips with that. I think with gaming becoming so popular, also the everlasting churning of live service games has
Right.
just been an absolute brain dead experience for gamers as well.
Yep.
Look at what was the Bungie project that got what was the game that got shut down after what?
Anthem?
No,
No,
it wasn't
that was
Anthem.
EA.
That's another one. But there was a game literally after, I think, less than a week. It literally got it was developed by Bungie. Literally less than a week later, it got shut down. They only sold like less than 100 copies or something like that. I need to find. I will find this game, but it just comes to prove that you know, there is an issue that needs to be sorted out. Even just like the prioritization of AAA games now. Do you get what I'm saying? Like when we were growing up, it was like various games, whether it was like Need for Speed wasn't a AAA game, or even like God of War, I guess maybe couldn't be considered a AAA game, but there were we were more accessible, more willing to play either indie games or maybe AA or what. Like the aspect of AAA games weren't really a thing until, in my opinion, games like Uncharted started coming out, which is sublime, phenomenal game. But I guess I'm not a fan of, and I realized this the other day, I'm not a fan of seeing like these celebrities in these games. Like there's starting to become a blend between, I guess, media, Hollywood, and gaming, which I'm not really becoming a fan of.
That's something I was actually about to. That's one of my points actually.
Yeah. And so I think at the end of the day, you know, gaming is still an amazing thing, and we still have like so many like indie developers. We've got games like Baldur's Gate 3, we've got simple games like bel-air, which I had no idea what it was as a simple card game, but now I'm addicted to it. Do you get what I'm saying? We've got so many other like Expedition 33.
That looks phenomenal.
Yeah, do you get what I'm saying? Like, so there's even Monster Hunter, and how Capcom now are making so much effort to have prioritization of their old video catalogs and kind of revitalizing that again. So there's so many different elements of gaming that are quite beautiful, but I can't help but see that, you know, companies buying out studios and not being able to make profits, they have to shut them down. It's just that's becoming so much of a prominent thing that us gamers are now having to be aware of. It's kind of scary. So,
and the power being taken away from the game as well, especially with like Nintendo released like their new idea for like the latest console, where we don't actually own the console. We're basically licensing games at this point, where
I'm actually about to get onto that, but
yeah, Nintendo's another thing as well. And I think for me right now, like there's so much room for like games like Call of Duty should be coming out once every 2 to 3 years. Same with FIFA. Like they're starting to realize that this isn't working, but they're not doing anything about it. And I think also gamers as well, to a degree, don't really know what they want sometimes, which is why like we need to start, and gaming companies and stakeholders and all of these people need to, because it's not the devs, it's mainly the people that run the companies, need to understand that, we need to find ways to improve the experience of gamers first and foremost, have a good art direction and go from there, rather than it being what it is right now. Yeah. So that's my long-winded answer.
No worries.
Yeah.
My one is basically echoing what you're saying, but with the added points of video game preservation. What I mean by that is, like you said, live service games, live service model games, which in some sense is any game that has some sort of battle pass or whatever. Those kinds of games, they remove the sense that you actually own this title. And what I mean by this is that if tomorrow they decide, do you know what, we're just gonna stop like supporting this game, you literally have a dud on your hands, because you can't play it offline, because for the most part these live service games are online only. So you can't play this game offline, which means you can't play the game, which then means you don't technically own the game in the first place. And then if that happens, that means that this game was essentially like the shelf life was literally indefinite. And again, like it's not a thing that is benefiting the industry, because like again, most of us were gamers from a very young age, and or like an age where we felt like we owned the games that we're playing. And again, what I mean by that is that we buy the game, we put it in our consoles, and we can play it however we want, as many times as we want, without this notion in the back of our minds that like I can, like, at any point all my progress or whatever will be lost in the ether because I can't play this game anymore. And like that's one thing that irks me the most about the industry, and it's one thing that kind of made me fall off one of the games that I loved. I love this game. And the game that I'll talk about is Destiny. Like don't get me wrong, like they're still servicing the game. The game is still going strong in some respects, but like they told the story that they needed to tell, and then kind of before they start telling their new story, there's just this weird space where, for me anyways, not for others, because for others it's fine, I guess, but for me specifically, it's not filling, and it's not meeting any requirements for me. Like, you've ended your story and now you're just vibing essentially. And again, like I noticed at one point that like this game can just die at any point, because fair enough, Bungie went solo, so to speak, after they broke up with Activision. They went their own way, they started doing their own thing, but now they've been bought by Sony, and that's fair play to them. Like, more money in their accounts to do whatever they want, but like, this is probably coming from an entitled place, but with that money that they've acquired or whatever from Sony, they should be doing a lot more. Instead, the news that came afterwards was way worse. So like, they've been bought by Sony, but them within themselves, because a lot of people put the blame on Sony for this specific thing happening, but there were mass layoffs.
Yeah, mass issues
in Bungie.
Also, Concord. That was the name of the game.
That's the name of the game. Yes, Concord
came out.
I don't think that was a Bungie game though.
Yeah, it was developed by Bungie.
Oh, was it
Yeah,
actually?
I think some team members from Bungie went to go.
Yes, that's what. Yeah, but it wasn't. I don't think it was a Bungie specific game. I think it was people left to go develop that game. But yeah, that game, mate. Sorry, but yeah, like there were mass layoffs. Like, people left, people went this way, that way, like, and that's one thing that I don't really like seeing in the industry. Like, there's developers and like companies out there that like have put their heart and soul into these games. Like, some of these games that we will remember from our childhoods, like, for example, Criterion, that came back to do to do Need for Speed Unbound. Like, they did Burnout, they did all kinds of games, like, but like so essentially they shut down Ghost, which made like Need for Speed 2015 and so on. Like, they shut down that company, but they splintered it into, like, some people went into Frostbite, some people went into Criterion, like, and that's all well and good, but like, the core of that company before you shut it down, they had a vision for them, like, for and of themselves. So to remove that and to put them somewhere where they perhaps don't have that same sort of creative drive or whatever is, to me, kind of crazy, because it's similar to, for example, you working at, I don't know, JD Sports or whatever, and Tutu's tomorrow, the owner of JD is like, I'm shutting down the business, you're now going to work at Sports Direct, and you're just like, well, what? Yeah. Like, come on now. Yeah. Like, it's just a bit crazy. But like, my overarching point of like video game preservation is sad to see, because when we buy a game, especially when we're buying it for almost £100 for the base game, God. And then God knows how much we're putting in for collector's editions, deluxe editions, DLCs, all of that kind of stuff. Like, and that's another thing as well that was irking me about Bungie, is that every DLC we're sinking teeth into our wallets to buy this thing, even though it's like it's a free game now, but like you're spending about
peas,
you're spending about £80 a year on this one game that you're playing over and over again. But like again, like you're spending this much. No, go for it. Sorry,
final points.
Yes. So like you're spending this much money, you want to be able to have some sense of ownership of this game.
Yeah.
But yeah, my final point is what Archie said as well. Like there's two sort of lenses that you can kind of see get the gaming industry in, and one of them seems quite fake to me, which is that like media Hollywood sort of thing, where it's like you're getting all these like big people or whoever people to sort of like
be the face of the game,
be the face of your game, or like to sell your game or to do whatever, and it just seems kind of fake to me, because it's like you don't need to do all of that. Like there's people out there that will play your game, like you just have to give them the chance to play your game. And what I mean by that is that it's one of the things that one of our friends and a guest that we had on recently, Steph, like they co-own this brand called Ion, which is impact over numbers. And I feel like that's what the gaming industry should tap into. Instead of seeking out the big people, seek out the smaller people who are actually willing to play your game and that will shout from the rooftops about your game. Because if you go for these higher people, fair enough, they'll be the face of your game or whatever, but behind closed doors, they don't really give a fuck.
Yeah, for sure.
So
For sure. Now, honestly, if I had more time, I definitely would have delved into it.
It's a deep topic.
That's a deep topic, innit? But I want to thank you guys for coming on the platform.
Thank you, man.
Thank you for having us, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. Really appreciate you.
I'm definitely having you guys back on again for sure. But tell the people where they can find you at, what you guys got going on, man.
Yeah, so Challenge Player One is the spot where it's at. If you love games, if you want to relive that moment of just geeking out about games or just experiencing, you know, having those conversations with someone where it's like, right, you know about that game? Challenge Player One is where it's at. The show for lovers of games and more.
And recently, hot takes as
well.
Yeah,
and recently
we've got some hot takes.
I'm shocked on with the Kingdom Hearts one, but
hey,
like, he's a cool guy, but I was like,
you. There's a lot more nasty ones that are coming. So if you've got a gaming hot take, if you love games, if there's something that inspires you about game, hit us up, let us know what guests you would like to have on. We're definitely gonna have you.
What guests you would like to see?
Yeah, man. Like we definitely want to have you to pull up on to the CP1 studios, bro, man.
Yeah, it's literally Challenge Player One on all socials, everywhere. Except Twitter, I believe, because Twitter we have Challenge Player One, but without the E at the end.
So
it's Challenge PLYR one.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's us.
All your details will be in the description. Make sure you follow them, and whilst you're following them, make sure you keep it locked in over here. Make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe. Bro, to 10K on TikTok. Help us get to 10K on TikTok.
That's it.
But yeah, man, it's been a rare podcast. It's been another amazing episode. We are signing out. Deuces. Catch you on the next one.
Peace.